let's start our budget related discussion. So friends, in earlier video we had discussed about the section 7 supply, then ITC, that is section 16, so proposed amendment related section 16, and even section 50 and other. So now today we are going to discuss about section 74 and proposed amendment under section 74. Friends, first, before proceeding with the discussion of section 74, it is necessary to know what is section 74. The section 74 is related to the proceedings wherein taxpayer has paid the short or there is a short payment of the liability or non-payment of the liability or wrongful availment of the input tax credit with an intention of the fraud. So intention is necessary, with an intention of the fraud and willful misstatement. If you see that section, under this section, up to 100% of the penalty can be levied. Now, what is the amendment? If you say section, if we refer the sections subclause 5, wherein earlier, if you see earlier, once section 74, so under section 74, let's say proceeding has been started and taxpayer has paid the whatever the tax liability along with interest and penalty and concluded the section 74 assessment or the proceedings under section 74. So earlier it is said that once the section 74 get concluded, that will deemed to conclude the certain provisions or certain penalty levied under sections, certain sections. And what are that sections? Section 122, section 125, section 129, and section 130. But now, as per the proposed amendment, now it is said that the even though conclusion of section 74 proceedings, it would not lead to conclude the section 129 related proceedings or penalty proceedings and section 130 penalty proceedings. So now, what is the impact and what is section 129? So friends, what is section 129? Section 129 is related to the detention of the vehicle or the goods. So if in case of you are not having a proper documentation or e-way bill or not paid the GST liability, then during the transit, goods can be detained or seized, and almost 200% penalty is to be levied. So earlier, so it is, even though there is an one more amendment in section 129, just to discuss, definitely we are going to discuss about section 129 more in next video, but just to correlate the section 129 with the section 175. So there is one more amendment under section 129. So earlier, whenever there is a confiscation of the vehicle under section 129, the taxpayer has to pay 100% tax and 100% penalty. But now it is proposed that the taxpayer has to pay the 200% penalty. That means total amount, whatever the paying by the taxpayer is not going to change. Only the head, that is 100% earlier paid under the tax, is now they are going to pay almost all the 200% under the penalty only. So this is again, so whenever definitely section 129 has a severe consequences, and we are going to discuss again under sections 129 whenever we are going to record that video. So just to understand whatever consequences that just to keep in now in as per proposed amendment, even though there is a conclusion of proceedings under section 74, now the section 129 related penalty proceedings will continue, and that not going to, or that is not deemed to be concluded, even you had paid the tax liability under section 74, etc. Now, what is one more section is not deemed to be concluded as per the proposed amendment, and that is one section, section 130. And what is section 130? So section 130 is related to the confiscation of the goods in certain scenario. So section 130 gives the scenarios wherein penalty proceedings are levied under section 130, and that scenarios are like one can say with the that scenarios are mainly focused on with an intention of the fraud. So there is a supply, or there is a supply of the goods, or any taxpayer receives the goods in contravention of the act and with an intent to evade the payment of the tax is one of the scenario. One more scenario can be discussed is that the even though having a tax liability, taxpayer has not registered and not disclosed the tax liability, then this section or the penalty under this section can be levied. One more scenario, if we have to discuss that scenario, could be the supplies of the goods or which are liable to be taxed has not recorded in the books of account. So there are such a 5 scenarios are mentioned in the section 139, 130. So in such a scenario, even the section 74 get concluded, or even the taxpayer has paid the liability, and there is a conclusion of the section 74, or proceedings under section 74 has concluded or closed, it is not deemed to be concluded the section 130 related proceedings. So section 130 related proceedings will continue. Uh, continue.